Hey guys and gals, this is Alex with Legendary Apartment Brokers here in Kansas City, and this is the KC Multifamily Minute. Today is Wednesday, January 7th, 2025. Actually, 2026. Happy New Year to you all. Let's get right into it. Just as we do every single week, we cover everything new that's on the open market, whether it's for your 1031 exchange or if you're an active real estate investor, what's new, what's out there, what class location, rough estimate on what rents could be per unit. Suburban versus urban, all those kind of things. Podcast listeners, I got my website always pulled up, looking at my website, looking at LoopNet, anything new that's coming to the market that's multifamily. So let's get right into it. What about statistics? What's out there? Well, with all the holidays here, Christmas, etc., going on, there's only 45 out there on the MLS that are active real estate investments that are $500,000 plus and built before 2021. There's actually 54 total, but 45 are active, which means 9 are under contract. Remember, several months ago, that was up in the 70s range for total and maybe in the low 60s range for active and out there for you to buy. So we've seen a compression in active deals right now. A lot of that's because there's so many that closed out at the end of last year. I had 5 or 6 closings in December alone, and I've got several under contract here for January and February. So there is a little bit of a lack of deals going on out there. I've got a couple coming to market here coming up. One this week, one coming up next week. So there are going to be more and more deals. So don't let that discourage you. That's the MLS data. So that's going to be your Redfin, your Realtor.com, your Zillow data. And then out on LoopNet has another 34 that are out there and 30 that are active, which means 4 under contract. No real big changes there. That's going to be somewhere around that 25 to 35 range we've seen pretty much all year of last year of 2025. And here in 2026, nothing new there. There are 0 new listings this week on LoopNet. And there is only 1 new listing this week on the MLS. We'll cover that here very briefly. And then I've got a new feature I'm going to go over here that I'm going to cover every single month. Along with I'm not going to cover it this week, but statistics for December. I'll cover that next week. We're right into it here. So this one here, we've got 1 new listing this week. It's $539,000. It's a 4-plex in Independence. Podcast listeners, I'm zooming in. It's on the east side of 291 Highway in Independence. So good part of Independence, north of 24 Highway. I actually had a single-family home listed up in this area. It's a great little area of Independence. It's a newer 4-plex garage style, meaning side by side. Garages. $539,000 seems high for a 4-plex in Independence. Kind of a price I'd see maybe Blue Springs, Lee Summit area. They are kind of large units. They're built in the 80s, so it's newer constructed. You don't have to worry about lead-based paint, but to me, it seems a little bit high on the high side, but could be a good fit if you're looking to owner-occupy or if you want to pick up an easy to manage, easy to have 4-plex in Independence. You know, rents can get up in that $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 range depending on what they look like on the inside and what the neighborhood really demands for that area, okay? But that's the only new listing we've got here in the last week. Now, I did see actually there was a couple new listings just as it's going to press, but I didn't have time to really look at those. But we'll cover those next week, no problem. But now then, a new feature that I'm going to talk about here on the podcast this week, we've got, of course, Hope Springs Eternal, but what are my favorite current on-market listings in the entire Kansas City metro that I think are a good fit for investors? Now, every single one of these is going to be different. It's going to be different locations. It's going to have different reasons for why. But let's go ahead and pull this up. First up is going to be a duplex here off of Westwind Drive in Lee Summit. You guys know how much I love Lee Summit. Duplex. Each one has a garage, $340,000. I do think you could, depending on what you did on the inside and how large these are, I think you could get $1,700 per month in rent, assuming you've got 3 bedrooms there, or at least 2 very large. It does say these are 2-1 bed and bath with attached garage, has a large privacy backyard. Now, you could hopefully get this for a little bit less than $340,000, but you make them nice. It's in a great street in Lee Summit. Zooming in here for podcast listeners, let's try to get a better location, micro location on Lee Summit. Excuse me here. I'm not going to spend this much time each and every single month on these, depending on how many they are. We have quite a few here this week. But this one is by Hy-Vee, just on the east side of 291 Highway, Class A location. Great little spot here. I think there's value here in this, especially if you want to pick up a duplex with very low, owner expenses. You shouldn't have trash. You shouldn't have water. You shouldn't really have anything going on here except for an appliance or a roof or something like that as time goes on. And you can make some nice adjustments to this. They do look a little bit small, but like I said, hopefully you get that for like 325, maybe 315 if you really go at it hard with some good terms on it. So anyway, that's a great opportunity for someone there to take down. Another opportunity that I like is going to be out here on the Kansas side. This is in Gardner, Kansas. Now, this is Johnson County. It's just on the far southwest end of the metro. And I like this. This is actually a triplex for less than $500,000. So $500,000 for a triplex. Hang on a second. It's $166,000 per unit. Top unit's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The other units are 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's got a garage. It's got parking. It's I think some kind of converted house maybe at some point. I'm not saying it's worth $500,000, but my point is it's in Johnson County. It's in a great town. Maybe you get this for $450. Then you're talking $150,000 a unit. Rents $1,200-$1,300 per unit. You do the math there, assuming you've got no low owner expenses, could be an interesting fit. Now, this has been on the market for 250 days, so it might not be a ton of demand there for, but maybe they're tired of it. Maybe now is a good time to go after it and see if they're willing to make a deal on it. Okay? So I like that one. Another one, this one's one of my listings here, 207 Northwest Bar Road. I just got 209 Northwest Bar Road under contract. This is the one next door to it for $549,000. It's got several great units. They all got garages. You guys have heard me talk about these before, but it's a great Class A sub market of Kansas City. Again, this is a price here, $549,000. It's a great deal. We just talked about that other one in Independence. It was $550,000. Similar kind of layout there, but that's a Class C location. It's Class A minus. So you get a lot more bang for your buck here. They are kind of smaller units, but you shouldn't have too much on the owner expenses. You should be able to push those rents up to $1,200, this year with nice finishes, your own property management in there, really pushing the rents, get great tenants in there, and you can push this up higher and higher. Or if you're in the market to live in one unit and rent out the other, this is a great one for you to look at as well. Okay. Now here's another one. This is podcast listeners got another one pulled up. 3619 Wyandotte. This is in the heart of Midtown. I've talked about this before. This is my listing. It's a 4-plex or 5-plex, no matter what way you look at it. It's got 4 units in a classic colonnade style, and it's got a 5th unit in the basement that's essentially there already. You just need to get appliances, get it cleaned up, depending on what you want to do for finishes, get some flooring in there. But it's already got a kitchen. It's already got bathroom, bedrooms, all that kind of stuff. It was already converted to a unit at one point. I think it was unconverted, so somebody could qualify for a 4-plex and live in one unit, rent out the other with a low money down type of situation. But I do love this deal a lot for a lot of different reasons, especially if you're a Midtown investor. It's a great one for you. Okay. And then I've got another property here. This one's a little bit outside of what some people like. This one is a 4-plex in Lee Summit for $590. This was listed maybe $800,000 a year ago, then went down to $700, then went down to who knows whatever. My point is to take a look at this. I'm not sure how reasonable the seller is on it. There's some pros and cons with this building. I actually think I sold this building 5 or 6 years ago, and I like it, but the HOA is a little bit interesting and unique. It's supposed to cover the exterior. I don't know if it really does. But if you get this, you put your own tenants in there, maybe live in one unit, rent the other 4. It's a great location. I love it off of Langsford and Todd George and Lee Summit, Class A submarket. The outside units are big, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath, I believe. The inside units are 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath, something like that. You could get $1,700-$1,800 a month in rent if you did it correctly and put your money into it, maybe $20,000 per unit. I've sold stuff, do 4-plexes for $600,000 to $700,000, $800,000 over here in Lee Summit. The only hair here really is that HOA, but could be a good investment for somebody that's willing to take a stab at this, get a rehab loan as part of your loan process. Okay. All right. So that's another one. Of course, this one here, guys, I got 2312 North 155th Street pulled up in Baser. Another one of my listings. I like this one because it's been rehabbed on the inside. Then it has a whole additional 1 acre that comes with it that you can build on. Build a self-storage, build more apartments, whatever. It could be a good fit for an investor in Baser, Class A, sub A minus, maybe B plus. Sub-market here in Kansas City out west. Chief Stadium is going to be maybe 15 minutes tops, really, from this location. So another one for you to take a look at that and see if that's a good fit for you there, okay? All right, that's 12 units for $1.5 million, if I didn't mention that. Last up, we have this property here, which is 16 units, 2 8-plexes in Lee Summit. Of course, I've already talked about how much I love Lee Summit. A lot of 2 bedrooms in here, a couple 3 bedrooms in here. It's got higher taxes and some higher utility expenses, but I love this location. It's right next to a K through 12 private Christian school in Lee Summit. You can't get much better than the location on it. Again, you put your own property management on it. You manage it yourself. You could really push the rents here. Find a right property manager that knows the area, loves the area. Put some money into the units to make them even nicer than what they are. It won't cost you much because they're not large units. $1.725 million for 16 units. I know it was under contract at one point. I had a lot of clients interested in it. They get hung up on the taxes and the utilities. But again, I think if you did a water study on it, put low flow toilets in there, did some electrical changes, LED, etc., you fought the county on taxes, you could really have a great asset that's going to appreciate and build wealth for you long term. It's not a slam dunk. I'm going to flip this thing in 2 or 3 years, but it's a great wealth building opportunity if you can get to the purchase price, the asking price, $1.725 million. So those are my favorite on-market listings across the entire metro that are multifamily. If you have any questions, please reach out. Alex at Legendary Apartment Brokers, and we'll talk soon.